to episode 206 of Manage the Wild. I'm your host, Nick Madsen. Today we're going to be talking about juniper encroachment. And the reason why we're talking about juniper encroachment is the place where I'm currently working at is actually doing some juniper removals because of juniper encroachment. And the reason we're doing removals is because of sage-grouse habitat. It's beneficial. There have been multiple studies done to show why it's beneficial. So let us take a look at one currently. This study was done, pinyon and juniper removals in sage-grouse habitat. And what this study shows is it's identified clear and predictable relationships between pinyon juniper cover and sage-grouse demography, meaning that the more cover you have from junipers and pinyon juniper habitat, the less sage-grouse you have, the less junipers you have, the more sage-grouse you have. They found that sage-grouse avoided environments that consisted of pinyon juniper trees, and there was different levels of avoidance. As a population whole, they stayed away from areas that were fully, or not fully covered, but had higher coverage amounts of pinyon junipers. And as that number dropped, the populations in a total would stay away, but the individuals themselves would venture into some of these areas. So multiple studies have been done for the last 20 years showing that juniper cover reduces the overall quality habitat for sage-grouse. So there's a couple of things. The reason why we're doing habitat work and juniper removals is because we have altered the fire regime. So the normal fire regime is lightning strikes, fire comes in, burns up the junipers, it goes up the mountain, and then it starts to slowly grow back. You have another fire, burns it. And so you get this advancing and retreating of the junipers constantly. But because we have stopped all those fires, now junipers are allowed to encroach. There are areas that I have been to where it is difficult to drive a car through because they're so packed, so tight together. The other problem that you have when they get so overgrown like that is that understory that is so vital to sage-grouse, all the different plants they need, is no longer there because there's so much coverage. And so they just don't like it. Now, we don't want to get rid of all the junipers. That would be bad. We want a mosaic. You want some, and what I mean by a mosaic is you want some junipers here and here and here. You just don't want them all overgrown. If you get them all overgrown, you're reducing the understory. But these junipers require a lot of water. And the area that we're in is currently experiencing a drought. So when you are getting a drought and you have all these junipers sucking water, then those plants that are so vital for sage-grouse don't have the ability to get as much water as they need. So we come in and we do juniper removals. There's multiple different options. One of the ones that's more popular in like social media just because it's so destructive looking is the chaining method. They take two dozers, put a chain between them, and then they just drive forward and they will lay waste to hundreds of acres of junipers. I've seen it done. The one challenge you've got is at the end, they clean up all these junipers and it's just a big pile. And what do you do with all the junipers? The method that we're employing, we don't have thick juniper stands, but what we're employing is the lop and scatter. Cut the trees, tip them over, and then cut off all the branches and throw them as far as you can. This often provides good cover and habitat for upland game species, chukars, quails, grouse, as well as cottontails and jackrabbits. And then another method that we're doing, and it depends on the area, we're trying mastication, where they come in, they have this big rotary wheel on their skidster, and they just grind, kind of like a stump grinder, but they'll grind the tree down and shoot the chips everywhere else and spread it that way. It doesn't provide as much cover, but there are reasons that you can employ each different one. We're choosing not to do the chaining. That one oftentimes causes more destruction than what we're currently looking for. because we don't have the large juniper stands. And so if we were to chain, we would rip out the current shrub sagebrush habitat that we have, that we like. We have a sage grouse lek there. We have a lot of sage grouse coming into that area. So we don't want to destroy the habitat to grow it back. The habitat's pretty good. We just need to remove some of those junipers. So if you go up a canyon and you had a bunch of junipers and all of a sudden they're cut down, you're like, what in the world? What are they doing? Now, where's all the trees? And that is the reason that they are doing it. The other interesting thing about the mosaic, the area that we are in, we are doing complete juniper removals through these sections. And earlier I said that you want a mosaic. Well, land ownership can also give you that mosaic. The public property is surrounded by private property on all the sides, and the private property people are less likely to come in and pay for juniper removals, and because they're not they don't have the funds to do it, you still have that mosaic, because now you're just talking that junipers are over on the ridge or they're on the other valley. They're not that far away, and so you're still getting a mosaic because of the way land ownership works. The other reason why it's important to have a mosaic is we do realize that junipers provide a lot of different resources for other species. Sage grouse may not like them, but mule deer love them. Other upland birds love them. Turkeys love them. They eat the juniper berries. And they provide some cover in the harsh winter elements. And so there's multiple species that still use them. And so that's, again, why we want to create that mosaic. So that's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoy. Have a great day. Stay wild.